Hello, this is Dr. Stephen Bourgeois. I'm the founder and CEO of AHeart Solutions. I'd like to introduce Richard Marquez. He's the president of Marcom Incorporated and a former CEO of Texans Can Academy. Richard is going to speak today about parental involvement.
All right, let me give you my experience in terms of parental involvement.
All right.
Parents do not feel comfortable coming to schools. For many parents, the school is a place of power. It's like any other bureaucracy, like going to the police department. Believe it or not, it has that same emotional vibe because you're going to go see somebody who has authority.
Mm-hmm.
So the school has to be a very welcoming, and everybody has to make that parent feel like it's okay for them to come to the school and talk to the staff there. So it's critical that that first person they meet or the first interactions that they have are very friendly, and because that opens up their willingness to come back. But how do you get them in is another thing. Parents don't want to come to a school to get bad news. For many of them, they get this bad news. They have troublesome kids. They get bad news their entire time,
Mm-hmm.
so they don't want to come. So you have to figure out a way to get them good news. There has to be some little good news about their child, so that the parent doesn't mind coming. And then you have to look at the obstacles that the parents have to go through. Remember, these are hardworking people. Many of them are working. They can't come to your school during the day. If they do, they lose money. So those are the kinds of things that you have to keep in mind. One of the things that I suggest to schools is feed them. Find a way to feed them. Have them come in the afternoons after work, but be sure you feed them. Invite them all whenever you do report cards, whenever you do anything. Try to hot dogs and chips and Cokes are usually pretty cheap. So feed them all hot dogs and Cokes and let them bring their other siblings. So it's a family issue. It's not, we're just going to go see Johnny. We're going to go see Johnny, but we're all going to go participate. So when the other kids see that they can come to a school and enjoy themselves and have an interaction that's positive, they'll come back. And not only that, they'll tell the whole world about the positive interaction they had at your school.
So, what about communication? Because some parents complain that they just heard about this the night before and they miss all these events or don't know about them. Is that a problem as well?
Well, communication is always a problem. They're busy, they're working. You can send them home with the kid. One of the best methods that I found is you send it home with the child and you have the child bring it back signed by the parent. So that's not going to get you 100% because some of the kids will sign it themselves or they'll have their brother or their sister sign it. That's usually the parent you'd like to get there, but that's just one of those drawbacks. But if the child takes it home and gets it signed, you're going to get a better communication with the home than it is if you're sending things, you're putting it on the email or the parent portal. That's not to say you shouldn't do those. You should do those, but go that extra step by actually pinning it to the kid on their shirt or wherever else, and having it get to the house and having it brought back. I think is one of the things that will assure you that somebody read it and you have that information.
So we talk about involvement, and often we assess by do they attend, PTA meetings? Do they visit the school for events? Can you define it more broadly? What type of involvement would be different from what I just mentioned?
Well, they have all kinds of field trips. Some parents would love to go on the field trips. You can invite them to go on field trips. And many schools do this. They invite parents to go on field trips. Of course, they have to be vetted, and the district they have to go through all the appropriate vetting processes so that they're approved to be in the school and around the kids. But uh, those kinds of things they enjoy being a part of. Uh, you can invite them to come set up something for their, you know, in this day and age, it's very difficult to have adults in the buildings during the school days because of all the violence and all the kinds of things that go on. So you really have to look at after school, right after school, about 30 minutes after school, having some things that you can create that go on. Uh, Fundraising, get them to sell some things outside the school, shirts, whatever it is. Uh, One of the things that I used to like was that whole aspect of having the parents earn their own T-shirts. Uh, See, the parent, wait, the kids all wear the school shirt, right? The parents need to be wearing that shirt also, and so there has to be a way to get the parents involved, wearing that same pride that their kids wear. They wear the same shirts. You see the stickers on the back of the cards that say, "My kid is an honor roll student." The problem with that is honor roll is usually 10%. Mm-hmm. So you want to get that other 80, 90% to at least post something or put something. And so even if you have to, the first day say, "We'll pay half of your shirt, you pay half. We'll have a spaghetti dinner or something to put every parent in a shirt." We need the parents to come out and help us sell the spaghetti or the meals, and all the money will go to seeing to it that every parent in the school has a shirt or whatever. Those kinds of things create a community. School should be a family, and I said that to you before. The best schools run like a a normal family. Yes, they have their little problems and everything else, but to a large extent, it's a positive environment.
So principals have a typical interaction often with parents, and that's the car line, particularly for younger students. Do you think that principals take advantage of that opportunity for the greater good, or are they just doing it because it's a duty?
Well, I think what has happened is it's become an expectation. So people expect you to be out on the car line because that's what good principals do. But I think what happens is you do it because it's just part of your routine. Opening the door for the kids, saying, "Hey, I'm glad you're here, come in," and so on and so forth. Uh, and the issue is you don't want to hold up the car line, so you don't spend time talking to the parent. What I would recommend is open talk to the parent also. "Good morning, how are you doing?" Real quick, say, "We're having a meeting here at such and such. Think about coming. I'd love to see you here." And then let the kid go in. Use that time, that precious time, to connect with that parent. And not only the child, say to the parent, "Thank you for getting them here on time. I appreciate the fact that you're always here on time and you always get this child here. This makes our job easier. Thank you." That little few seconds of interaction, if you do it with faithfully and with the right intention, changes the whole dynamic as to how they see you. I showed up at one of my schools when I was the area superintendent. I showed up at the high school, and I saw two an older gentleman and an older woman sitting there in the office. And the first thing I do is I look at them and I say, "Did anybody offer you a cup of coffee?" And they said, "Well, no." And I said, "Would you like one?" And they said, "Yes." So I went and got them both a cup of coffee and brought them whatever the whole thing. And I said, "Why are you here?" And they said, "Well, we want to see the principal, because our kid's having a problem." They were the grandparents. All right. And so I said to the secretary, why, does the principal know they're here? And she said, yes, he's in his office. And she said, but they don't have an appointment. It you know, I'm very calm. I'm always calm. I'm always very, that inside I was boiling. This is our constituency. These are our people. This is who we serve. And we treat them like a number, uh, like they're at the DMV sitting there waiting on a number. They don't have an appointment. I mean, it was like, anyway, I took them into the office. And after the meeting, I said to the principal, do you realize that this gentleman lost a day's work to come and talk to you? And do you realize that he's sitting here embarrassed, they even having to come here and have to see you? And then the way he's treated, he'll never want to come back here again. The next time this child gets in trouble, you won't, they won't come. Such disrespect for another human being. So little things like that, when they show up unexpected, figure out a way to take care of their need. Figure out a way to do, because you want them there. You need them there. Their support is critical to what you're trying to do. And sometimes they'll inconvenience you, but try to figure out a way to work around that inconvenience. Some of them are really bad. The majority of them are actually really good.
Mm-hmm. I bet that the principal has a role, but also the front office staff, particularly, they interact a lot with parents. What would you recommend in that area?
Well, you see what I told you, that whole issue of, would you like a cup of coffee? Would you like some water? Do you, blah, 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 and then have a conversation with them. They say, you're busy, you're working. You say, is there anyone else who can help you? Tell me what you need. Your staff, if they know how, can triage the situations so that it's not just you all the time. And if they're well trained, they can guide the parent to where they need to go. And then they can say to the parent, look, you can call me anytime. Your clerks and all these other people, they can say, here's my card. You can call me anytime you need something, and I'll guide you to the right person. Or you can leave the message with me, and I'll see to it that somebody returns your call. So that it's not always you. You have to build a team, and people have to know how you work. So it's not always just you answering these parent questions, but your entire staff is helpful.